Selectman, 385 Copperthwaite Road in Bedminster. Just a couple of points of clarification. There was, as part of the sale of the property, a removal of some underground tanks, one which had a problem, which was fully remediated, and a no further action letter was obtained by the Department of Environmental Affairs in Trenton. So the only tank that is currently in the ground on the property is the tank that feeds this house, which sits in the courtyard there. It's about a 3,000-gallon tank. That was also addressed, and some minor leakage that took place there. That was all taken care of and addressed. So the issue with regards to underground storage was fully vetted out and addressed and remediated at the time. Someone said that Mrs. Pitney had a life estate. That wasn't the case. The property was sold to the township, and it was felt at that time that it would take about 2 years for the township to come up with the design, with a master plan and the design, and be ready to start construction on whatever the future use of the property was. The town did not move forward, and so Mrs. Pitney lived here in exchange for maintaining the property. Subject to some comments that have been made, I would venture to guess that somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000 a year was spent beyond the simple operating costs to make improvements to the house. The most historical portion of the house has a brand new roof on it, and while there are issues that need to be addressed, they are being addressed. The purchase price was $4 million, so I'm just curious of which $1.5 million was contributed by the county in the form of open space funds, and then $500,000 of it was the open space fund that the township of Mendham maintains for the purchase of just such properties. So I'm curious where the additional $200,000, was that just a reserve for debt service, or?
That's where I gave you that number, and I thought I saw that on Mr. Krauser's report, the Green Acres appraisal.
Okay, no, it was a $4 million purchase price, and as I said, 1.5 was the donation from the county in the form of open space, which purchased the 7 acres, and then there was $500,000 from the township's open space plan. So it was, to my calculation, it was a $1.5 million expense.
If I may ask you a question, you said that both tanks were addressed and that there are only 2 tanks.
There's only one tank in the ground currently, which is
Right.
the tank that services this house.
Was there a no further action?
Yes, yes, all of
letter
which is in the possession of the township, and should somebody do the research,
Okay.
it's there. Okay.
Just suffice it, I haven't seen that yet.
Okay.
Now, obviously, it's something that's important.
Okay, well, I would check with Steve, because that was all something that was a function of the sale of the property. I just wanted to address that, and just the other thing about somebody made a comment about the Pitney legacy. While we certainly would like to see the Pitney legacy honored or recognized in some way, this was really about the legacy of the town. I had the good fortune to grow up on this property. I had firsthand experience to know how special it is, how centrally located it is, and what it could be as a resource to this town. We took our kid, we go down to the Jersey Shore when my grandfather went down in the 1930s, and we've been going down there all of our lives, and we took one summer where we took our kids to Hawaii at considerable expense, and we're there in this idyllic scene, and my son, 12 years old, sits down and looks over this great array, and he says, "This is nice, but it's not Long Beach Island." And I think he said that because he sees pictures of his grandmother growing up on that beach, and pictures of his father and his aunts and uncles, and he sees his cousins, and he has a feeling that he comes from somewhere. And the hope was, in all this modernization, and a Kindle was mentioned, and our kids are always on their Blackberries and all doing this stuff, that they don't have that sense of coming from somewhere. And yes, it's promoted through Scout projects, and there are 5 Eagle Scout projects that have been done here in the last year and a half, and more to be planned. And there were other community events like picnics, and we wanted to have a movie night on the lawn, and obviously community gardens, and all these things, and place-based education to have the fifth graders in the walled garden, having the secret garden read to them, and have an arts program, and have all these things that has the community intersecting with each other, because that's what strengthens community. You know, when I was a kid, if somebody's barn burned down, everybody came together and helped rebuild the barn. And I think, you know, we're looking at the glass as being half empty, but know that the report that was put in front of you, and we had tens of thousands of dollars, not only the volunteers that help, but pro bono consultants who have no tie to this property. Gensler, Bowler Engineering, the renowned architect Michael Graves, they all donated their services. I would also like to reiterate my offer that through the business that I'm in, I have access to you know, professional plumbers, mechanical, electrical contractors, who are willing to come up here and look at some of the things, the uninhabitable cottage, in terms of what it would really take. And my feeling is that that could be brought back online with relative ease. Some of the cost here could be further reduced, but you could start to get into a position where, as we did our report, as the transition committee did the original report, that there could be in the neighborhood of $30,000 to $40,000 a year in excess income beyond operating costs that could be put towards some of the costs of just dealing with the critical problems. The report that had the cost was, again, pro bono by Castle Construction that we gave originally, and that had a number somewhere in the neighborhood of, I think, $500,000 or $600,000. But that was with the idea of taking everything and, you know, and bringing it back to, you know, with a 20-year fix. Clearly, there's things that we've addressed that we can continue to address very reasonably, I think, with the $40,000 that the property would raise. So I completely recognize the challenges that the Township Committee has in front of them. I offer help on a pro bono basis just to vet out the numbers, to look at what the real costs are. And I hope that, you know, in doing so, that we can preserve a long-term opportunity and not lose it forever because of a short-term challenge. Thank you.